are ready. Joshua, what's going on, buddy? Hello, Joshua. Well, we'll be starting in just a minute. I'm trying to reach Joshua. Can everybody else hear me? If you would just type in the question there, good. Thank you very much. Well, I was just talking to Joshua. Now I can't hear him. Well, folks, we will be right back with you in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. Good to be a great day today. We're going to be, this is a question and answer day. Usually our webinars, we run over in time with all the content that we've got. So today, if you've got a question, we're going to answer it. And we've already got a number of questions that have been holding over from the past weeks. So just feel free to go ahead and start asking your questions. And we're going to be providing you with that information in just a few minutes.
Can you hear me now, Joel?
Oh, there you are.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I was talking and nobody could hear me, so I decided to do the old go-to-meeting routine, which is hang up and dial in again.
There you go. No doubt about it. Oh, cool. Well, I had kind of made a slight introduction of this, Joshua, and what our plans are today, so I'll let you make a more formal one. So,
yeah. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know how far Joel got. I wasn't listening, but today we're going to have a different format. We've had many questions asked to us in the past, and we've always kept our questions till the end. So today we're going to go ahead and take on questions for basically the whole hour. So we'd like you to go ahead and start sending in your questions right now. We've got some questions that are probably left over from other sessions, and I guess we'll start off with those, or take the ones that are on the call. Joel, I guess you're going to be handling that part and getting any questions from
Sure, that'd be great. I've got a quick question. I got a very important question. For everybody up here that's freezing their butts off, what's the weather like in Puerto Rico today?
Well, that's unfair, Joel. That's cruel.
I know.
It's a cool 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Nice, and it's been sunny most of the week. So good weather in Puerto Rico. Good weather, great weather. Actually.
Yeah, we've been having decent weather, but it was like 70 Monday and 40 Tuesday and Wednesday, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah. But at least we don't have a lot of snow like other folks. Well, Joshua, one of the first questions that we've had that's just been hanging over, and we've got, you and I have been putting together a way to respond to this more effectively with our customers, but that is a discussion about social media. How should the credit repair professional be interacting with social media if they've not started, or how to improve if they have. So I'll give you the floor and let's discuss that for a few minutes.
Well, Joe, it's very interesting the way social media is, and the way and as you all know, Facebook really drives that endeavor. But there's a lot of ways to interconnect now. So, a lot of you may think that if you work on your Facebook page, then you have to work on your Twitter page, and you might have to work on your LinkedIn page, and quite frankly, and your YouTube page as well, and even your MySpace, and some of you still use that as well. But the reality is that with Facebook and all of those other social media networks and social media programs and websites, they've got ways to interconnect. So you can connect your Twitter to your Facebook and your LinkedIn to your Facebook. So you can post either in Twitter and it could carry over to Facebook and therefore carry over into LinkedIn and vice versa. So it's a very convenient way to make posts, to create interesting information to share. And that's a problem that I found with a lot of the credit repair organizations that I've seen. I've looked at some of their Facebook pages, is that they use it as an extension of their website and brochures and marketing collateral, and just start advertising all out right on the social media news feeds and walls. You've got to be very careful with that. First of all, that could be very intrusive to potential buyers of your services, because Facebook is a place that they go and they discharge every day in the afternoon or in the morning. And now that we have Facebook on our phones, we're continuously posting things. Matter of fact, the other day when Joel was down in Puerto Rico, I knew where he was because he would probably he had his Facebook open on his iPhone, and every time he had turned on his phone, Facebook posted a new place for Joel and let everybody, all of his friends know. Or he posted a photo from a specific place and everybody knew. So even though it's a public way of managing lifestyle, it's a very private interaction as well. So we want to be very careful when we go ahead and start just advertising. Use my services. I'm the best in the industry. Stay away from all that. Keep it social. When you post information on Facebook, talk about how the business interacts socially. Give interesting content out. On our Facebook page last week, Joe, I posted advertising for our Scoreinc credit repair business solution, a webinar on Tuesday, and nobody read it. Nobody looked at it. Very few of our followers did, and it carried over to Twitter. I posted it in LinkedIn, and not many people clicked on the link. Yet about 10 hours later, I posted a quote that Steve Jobs, I found interesting, and Steve Jobs had said. Posted that quote, and I got 104 people that actually looked at that or viewed that social piece of content. And right below it, guess what? There was an advertisement for our company to assist in the Scoreinc webinar. So organically it spread, and then virally it spread as well. So there's two different ways to grow. And when that happens, that is potentially the best thing that you can do with Facebook. Every now and then we recommend to post things that are relevant. I think posting an anonymous result, okay, an anonymous result for credit repair businesses in between social content is something that's going to be read, but at the same time, not tune out your social audience. This is something that you need to do so that people actually like your page and you start gathering a following. Now, it's interesting the way you can do that, and that's just organically. That, of course, Joel, that's without paying for paper impression or pay-per-click type media advertising, which you can do as well. Facebook also has events that you can create internally, but you can also pay to post those events as well. This is another way that you can promote webinars and tie in squeeze pages to those webinars to kick back to your opt-in pages or landing pages on your website if you've got multiple or singular websites. But it's a way to tie that all back. Fundamentally, Facebook is never going to close a deal, but it's another way that we can socially engage our future or potential customer base, so that when they do buy, because they're ready to buy, you're the logical choice.
It's very interesting, and I watch people use Facebook, as you were saying, in multiple ways. one, of course, is and I'm friends with a lot of credit repair companies, as well as intertwined with some of my personal. I only have one Facebook page, and I'll tell you something, Joshua. I took it off the address bar with my favorites links on both of my computers because I had a tendency to look at it too often, and it was becoming a distraction for me. My daughter has given up Facebook for Lent. And I know a couple of other people, it's just like, this is just too much, or they're doing it too much. But so, everybody's in a different relationship stage with Facebook. But I notice personally, and I'm friends with hundreds of different credit repair companies, so I kind of see what they do. A lot of them are, like you say, they're posting informative articles and, mentioning, and their business is posting it. So every time you see an article on, let's just say Steve Jobs, or the New York Fed, or the recent 60 Minutes article, everybody, or not article, but episode, everybody in the credit repair business should have posted a link to that 60 Minutes article. Everybody. Okay. That would be a good. That was one of the things I thought was a very smart way that the credit repair companies are providing relevant information to their customers without directly asking for a deal. There's this guy that I know and I like. He's a nice guy, but every day he posts this. He cuts and pastes this little message. Says, "Dear Facebook friends, if I can answer any questions for you today, give me a call." And I just think it's just too direct of an approach. I also see people use it on a local basis. Most of my dealings on Facebook are on a national basis, and I'm not sure about other people. My daughter is I'd say 99% local, and if she's looking for a lost dog, she puts a message on there, and she'll have 100 responses. She actually went out looking for a dog of a friend of hers, and they had, due to Facebook, they had over 100 people out looking for that dog. I see another one of our customers that's in the real estate business as well. She'll put on there, "Hey, I need a plumber over in this area of town," and she'll get a bunch of responses. So it's very interesting the way that people use it and stay in front of their audience. And of course, now now I get to stay in front of the viral part is what's kind of crazy about this, because when you post something, all of a sudden other people are seeing it that you don't even know.
Yeah. And so, and yeah, we're all, it's definitely Facebook can get viral very fast. And the exposure to Facebook is definitely something that the reaction time is a lot better. I'm a terrible Facebook user, Joe. I am about, if anybody has friended me, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm sorry, because I have to literally, put somebody to check my Facebook, because it's very difficult for me to go ahead and just monitor that sometimes. But I got to tell you, it's becoming much more of a friend. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that I don't use Facebook to promote my business ventures, both in the past and in the present. Let me tell you what we did with Facebook once. About when I had my credit repair business, Joe, we went ahead and created, just gave away a free credit course, and we had a free credit consultation, a free credit course, and a free webinar, Credit 101 webinar, little advertisement that we created for a pay-per-click or pay-per impression marketing campaign. That was basically driven to a link that would go back to our website that was hooked into our customer relationship management software, which was Infusionsoft at the time. That started to what we started doing was advertising on our company page, advertising just social media, social content, build a like to over 1,000, and once we had over 1,000, we started paying for advertising at whatever the rate was, be it a pay-per-click rate or a pay-per impression rate. And those are the advertisements that would go in one of the sidebars at that time on the right, on the top right. Facebook now places those advertisements in other places as well. But we went ahead, we started the campaign. We started out with about $10 to $20 a day, and we would run the ad about 4 to 5 days a week. We started realizing that we could get better results on Saturdays and at night, and we would not release the amount of money into the pay-per-click advertising campaign until that time, and it would start at specific times and specific days. And what we got in 6 months was the following. We got about $60,000 worth of revenue that was coming off of the website because of Facebook, and we didn't have any other campaign rolling. Now, it took about 6 months to get there, and then within the next following 6 months, it started ramping up, because the internet consumer for us was much different than the consumer that we were used to handling, because we had a face-to-face interaction. We had brick-and-mortar retail offices that would attend customers face-to-face. So it took almost a year to get that done, but it generated $60,000 worth of revenue in 6 months, and it was growing at the time. So this is a very, very good way and very simple way, very inexpensive way to push traffic to your website. And when the idea around this is the following: when you've got to create a philosophy around this. We were discussing this morning. Joe sent me an email because we're starting to use Facebook a lot more aggressively and LinkedIn. And you've got to make that a complete culture. That means your websites have to have logos on there for LinkedIn, for all of your social media providers. You should, in some instances, if you've got blog pages, you want to include snippets of your news feed there as well. And Facebook provides you with that code for your website developers to really just drag and drop that onto your website, onto your CSS file sheets or WordPress file sheets as well. So WordPress website. You want to go ahead and start engaging the customer socially in every type of content. Your emails should have that as well. If you send a text message, start using some signatures on the text messages, and that push you to places that have the Facebook link. These are things that you could do to start increasing your traffic. The idea here, ladies and gentlemen, is to get as many people to like and follow your content. And then once you're above 500 likes or content, start marketing to the general public. Now, you can geo-target that marketing as well. So you can choose women, men, between the ages of 18 and 35, Hispanic. You can do a lot of different things with Facebook. Take advantage of it. It's a very good tool to drive your sales.
I'm showing you several different credit repair companies that I'm a friend with on Facebook, and the different posts that they're making. This Kristen Nuss recently, or I guess maybe it was today, posted, be careful where you're getting your credit facts from Smart Credit. It was from John Alsmer, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind you posting that for him. So I'm posting this over in the chat session, so you guys can be able to pick these up. And again, I recommend that you go to your Facebook and begin to post, as an example, and post this type of content. Again, from an educational standpoint versus, hey, send me some business. Because they'll, here's the thing about it, Joshua. Nobody wants to buy credit repair. Number one, okay, and nobody's, in my opinion, and let's just say there's 1 or 2% that we're wrong about. Okay, so let's call it 95, 96% of the people that have bought credit repair didn't buy credit repair. They only got credit repair so that they could get what they wanted. And if you can believe this or not, as a guy who has credit offers at Ox Publishing and Hutton Chase, I've seen hundreds, literally maybe even more than hundreds of consumers go to credit repair, get an account at Ox, probably got one somewhere else too, make their 3 or 4 payments, get their house, and not make the last payment. $20. They go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days late, and we charge them off. And then they got a charge off. So if nothing else ever has proven the fact that people don't buy credit repair, they buy credit repair only to get what they want. So, and guess what else, Joshua? They only buy it when they need it. 95% of the time. Yeah. And so it's why scream at people on your Facebook, turn them off by selling credit repair every single day versus because they're not ready to buy credit repair. Versus let them go to the barber shop, go to the beauty shop, go to to church, go out to dinner. So, there was this lady that posted this article on Facebook the other day, and, I'm going to really be careful where I use my debit card. Well, who was that? I don't know. Let me go back and look. So they pull out their phone. All of a sudden, you've bought some brain cells, as we call it. You've marked your territory, as we call it. And you've accomplished doing that without actually, even opening your mouth and saying anything, or by asking for a deal. So it's a very interesting dynamic that's been created via Facebook. And of course, we hadn't even got to LinkedIn or Twitter. Actually, I recorded on my DVR an episode on CNBC about basically how to use Twitter and the benefits of it. So I'm really looking forward to that because I've got a Twitter account. I've got several hundred followers. I don't post as much as I should. One of the things I read about really using Twitter is that you should post 4, 5, 6 times a day. And I'm thinking, who the heck's got time for that? But again, from a business perspective, you're out there buying those brain cells and marketing your territory. I can tell you this about LinkedIn. If you want to be endorsed, endorse a bunch of people. And people on LinkedIn will reciprocate. And if you don't have a good-looking, picture on there and a good-looking profile, then you need to start this weekend and get that done. It won't take long. How long, Joshua? You recently set up one. How long did it take you to really get a nice-looking LinkedIn page?
On LinkedIn, well, LinkedIn took me about a couple of hours to set it up and understand what was going on. I'm not an expert around that, but LinkedIn has something that a lot of LinkedIn users probably don't know. You're setting up a company, you can associate a new company website with that as well, and it's a nice little template feature. So I guess you have to have your graphics in the right formats and stuff, and that's about as complicated as it gets to really just upload your icons and images. If you give them a website, it'll go ahead and pull the banner GIF or JPEG right off the website and use it as a thumbnail inside which is kind of nice. And you can have a detailed description of your services and products area, and you can also have other companies endorse you as well. So it's a nice feature to have. Of course, they've got upsell features like they do for paying for LinkedIn. You can have the free version and also get more features and stuff and pay for it. And if you're really serious about marketing to LinkedIn, I recommend you do pay for it.
I've got the $99 a month account, and it allows me to send, I forget the number, but a bunch of in-mails. Okay, and otherwise you're limited. I don't think you can send in-mails with a free account. But I can tell you without a doubt that the response rate on emails is going down. Okay. And the response rate on in-mail inside of LinkedIn is going up.
And you know why that is, Joe? It's because now people LinkedIn is the Facebook of the business world. So everybody there is with different from Facebook that is completely social. In that area, this is the biggest D&I group there is.
Yeah.
So. And you can choose to be part of different groups and create your own groups as well. So people are there, and everybody knows that if they're there, they're here to inquire or find out about business. Either they're looking for somebody to contract, or they're looking for somebody to contract them, or they're selling something, or they're buying something. But everybody in LinkedIn is in that environment right now, and everybody's that attentive. So it's very interesting, very interesting. Plus, you get emails from them as well. So you could use that to market. You know, you can export all of your emails and upload them both into LinkedIn and Facebook and send out requests to all of these people on there. These are new features that you've got in Facebook. I don't know how new they are, but they're new to me. And before you could export from your, from your email list and things like that. But if you've got different lists and Excel spreadsheets and things of this sort, or in different programs that you consolidated into CSV formats or Excel formats, you can import them into Facebook. All you need is the email, and that's it.
Yeah, it's really a great tool, and again, it doesn't take much to get one working. You know, Joshua, I'll make the obvious suggestion though. If you're going to use Facebook for business, and you're going to intertwine your personal with your Facebook, with your business, be careful what you post.
Well, but you know, you're not. If you've got something to say, Joe, and people are listening, you know, be very careful with what you do in your personal life and how you expose it to everyone, because not everybody understands, and it could affect part of your following, and therefore affect your potential sales in the future. I mean, everything gets viral quickly in Facebook, and for some reason, all of the things that shouldn't get viral is quicker than others. So be very, very careful with that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's see, next question. If you're ready to move on, Joshua.
Go ahead.
How do I contact my consumers that buy, and how?
How do I?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting way that the question's been asked. So let's kind of kind of clear that up a little bit. Let's talk about, first of all, consumers that do buy. Okay, the consumers that sign up with your services. You know, you go through a 5-minute call with them. What would you call that call, Joshua? Give it a moniker. An intro?
Pre-consultation call.
Pre-consultation. There you go. So we'll call this our pre-consultation. So they go through your pre-consultation. They decide to buy your services. And then we'll come back to those that don't buy in the event we run out of time here. So the ones that do buy, you know, what is the periodicity, number one, and what is the next time you must be in touch with that customer?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. If the customer purchased something from you, you always want to engage them as much as possible, and in as many different ways as possible. So segueing back to Facebook, tying Facebook into your continuity process for customers that buy and don't buy is absolutely important as well. So you want to make sure that you can market to them as well. There are some CRMs out there that already host social media private messages to specific customers to their Facebook pages as well. They've got the ability to do that. I know Infusionsoft does. But how often do you contact them? As often as possible. But if you're looking for a specific format for a customer that buys, you want to contact him same day, minimum next day. And then you want to contact that customer within a week to see how well everything has been going and what their expectations have been. And then you want to contact that customer at a minimum by the sales representative once per month. This is a voice contact once per month. And that's a salesperson that should be contacting them. If it's now, there should be other continuity going on in the background. You want to engage that customer proactively. So now he's engaged in the dispute process. Your processing staff should be starting off some communication when they send out disputes, halfway through the dispute cycle, and on or right before the anniversary date of the dispute. Now, this is with regards to production. with regards to processing. So the service that's being provided, the customer knows what's going on. If we're talking about billing or an admin request, there should be a contact 1 to 2 days prior to the day that you're pulling or you're going to pull funds from a customer's account, letting them know what they're going to be invoiced and how and when they're going to be invoiced. That will also decrease the amount of NSFs, let's call them, when you're doing your billing endeavor. So if you look at just those 3 areas, we've engaged the customer in multiple ways, in multiple ways. Now, the purpose of the salesperson is to continue to build rapport. Haven't you noticed when you bought something, Joel, that once you, up until the moment that you actually purchase whatever you're purchasing, your salesperson is very attentive, and then all of a sudden he falls off the face of the earth. You know, that's a problem, because there is more things that you can engage your customer with in credit repair. For example, I've seen very little companies in credit repair today, and we talk to a lot of them. We've got a lot of them that do business with us that actually have a strategy to sell something after they finish the credit repair process. And they've already got the best product to do that with, okay? You know, you've got a credit monitoring service that credit monitoring service can go on, and it should be used by the customer as a tool to continue to monitor their own credit. And you can teach them how to do that by having monthly or quarterly educational sessions with them. I've only seen maybe one company do that, Joel. And of course, it's a lower price point. It's a service that they sell, but there's no results attached to that service. This is a pure educational service that the customer understands, and you can go to it. By the way, in our Identity IQ product, we've got a thing called the Credit Score Stimulator, which is fundamentally the Experian Credit Expert product, Joel. You can sit there and with the customer's current credit report, you can experiment scenarios with your consumer right over a Join Me or a GoToMeeting session, and show him possible scenarios that they can engage to continue to increase their credit score through better utilization, through either increasing their credit line item, their credit revolving credit, or decreasing the balances on them, or both. Paying down on some installment or mortgage account, depending on where they're at and how young they are. You know, these are all things that you can do with the Credit Expert program. And for example, we've got one called the FDCPA department. You could market to them and ask them, are they being sexually harassed? Maybe your 6-month period has expired. Your customer has decided to leave you in the 4th month. Purchase what they needed, but they continue to get collecting and harassing calls of accounts that were probably settled. How many times does that happen? Does that happen to your consumers? Well, you're never going to know if you're not marketing to them and touching that point and letting them know that there's something that they can do. Marketing a trade, positive line inclusion type credit card or credit type accounts. That is something that can help boost that as well. If you're not doing that during your process, we'll do it after, but at least engage them. These are different ways and purposes and reasons why it's very important for us to engage our current customers as much as possible and through every single medium possible. If you've got the ability to text, text. If you've got the ability to email, email. If you've got the ability to talk to them, talk to them, but do it in a structured and a structured process format, and do everything on purpose.
You know, we talk about that all the time, doing things on purpose. And if you do things on purpose, you got to do them on a schedule. And again, you know, when do you do what? Okay. And you know, I've recently been enjoying reading, actually listening to audiobooks. But when do I do it? Okay. Well, and so when I do it is on my way to the gym, sometimes at the gym, but my workouts really don't. I haven't gotten into that yet. And listening to it while I'm working out for some reason is kind of weird. And then on my way home from the gym, and then while I'm getting dressed, and then while I'm eating some breakfast. So that is the time that I've set aside to train myself, motivate myself, increase my sales capacity, whatever information I'm listening to. On that point, I've subscribed to SoundView. I think it's the name of the company, SoundView.com. They have the summaries, and it's instead of reading a 200 or 300 page book in 15 minutes, I can listen to a recording of the summary of that book. Okay. Now the point I'm making is that if you're going to do social media and you're going to contact your customer and you're going to do it on purpose, then simply, Joshua, you've got to set aside the time that's when you're going to do that, or it won't get done.
Yeah, nothing will get done if you don't separate some time. Nothing's going to get done. There are. I get it. My wife sometimes grabs the phone. I mean, she's typical. She grabs the phone and she'll go ahead and I'm talking to her and she'll answer the phone. Well, maybe that's more important, but I got to tell you, just imagine if I was a client and I did that. And sometimes we do that in our businesses. And I'm just using that as an example, but we've got to be very careful on what and define what things are urgent and what events are important. They're all important. Handling that call, talking to a current customer, doing your disputes, every one of those things that we mentioned and talking about, they're all important. But some of them can wait for others to happen. And when we've got to pick and choose battles, we really want to pick and choose the right ones and understand what is urgent and what is not.
Let's kind of recap because it was a long answer, a very good answer to the question of how often and when should I contact my customer that buys. So what I heard from you is that if they buy today, and you actually go through the credit audit, if that's your process, go through the credit audit that day. Try to do a one-call close if possible, although you're not going to do that most of the time. But when they buy, when you get their money, when there's that commitment that's been made, think back to the time that you went on a date with somebody, maybe even kissed for the first time, and then the next day they didn't call you back, and you couldn't get them on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now just think about that for a minute. Okay. Let it sink in, and consider that that's the relationship that your customer needs to have with you. They go home. They tell somebody they bought credit repair. I'll bet you 8 out of 10 times they say, well, that's illegal. That you can't do that. I saw it on TV. And then they end up at the Better Business Bureau, and then they end up here, and then they end up there, and all of a sudden, you've got a customer that gave you a kiss last night, and now they can't get in touch with you. They don't know what to think. Besides the fact if you're not returning phone calls or answering the email back quickly, I mean, they are panicked. So, act like you act like your customer is that person, or you, and that feeling that you had at whatever that juncture in time was, and simulate that. As Tony Robbins would say, close your eyes and remember that day, and let that emotion come back, and now translate that into the way you treat your customers. Yeah. And so, based on that, when would you call them? As fast as possible. Okay. Exactly. What would you say? Okay. Well, I'm sure you could come up with, so, hey, I was looking at this account. I just want to make sure about this. That'd be the easiest thing in the world to communicate to them. That way they feel comfortable that you're on the job. Hey, I wanted to ask you about this. I want to clarify this question here. And, I'd do that the next day, maybe that afternoon. I'd make them feel real good about it. Hey, even that night, I was looking at your file. Let me ask you this question. Just want to let you know the dispute letters will be going out in the next couple of days. You can log into your portal. And again, that can be triggered emails to some extent. Now I know at Score, our system sends out some automated emails. We'll get into that later. If you want to know more about it, all about it, you could get on our webinar on Tuesday to look at our new system. But Joshua, that as fast as possible, as quick as possible, and again, imagine that feeling that you never wanted to have again and was so uncomfortable. Just put your customer in that position.
Yeah, you've got to be able to you've got to be able to do that smoothly. It's the only way to build rapport. I think we were discussing this today. When we're talking to consumers over the phone and maybe occasionally through a video chat, we don't have that benefit of being in front of the customer and letting our tone and our body language really help us to engage the consumer. When I have a statistic in one of my sales trainings that I pulled off of the Gann Institute, and one of them says that 7% when delivering a message to an audience, 7% of what they capture, only 7% is because of what you said. That means the content. That's huge. The other percentage, the other 93% is part of your tone and your body language. So think about that, long and hard. When you're sending out a message to a customer and you're not responding to them and giving them what they, building up that relationship. And especially when you close, when you sell, you got to continue. That's when you really start. People get home and they said they feel real. They bought something. If you bought a television, what do when you get home? You unpack it and you use it, and you stop everything that you're doing, and most people will just start using it, within the first 30 minutes to an hour after they've gotten home, right? So
yeah, and then you get your kid to show you how to use the remote,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, hook it up for me, and then what happens after that, when you get home from buying a credit repair service? Well, you're going to tell it to your loved one or your friends or whoever, your family members, and you're trying to get this problem fixed. Some people might not say anything, but the reality is that opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, and guess what? They're gonna there's a lot of bad press about credit repair, and if you're not proactively engaging that customer, they're gonna probably hurt that deal. You're gonna have a lot of comebacks. A lot of customers calling you if you don't engage them quickly, because they're going to feel that there may be something wrong. So breach that gap and contact that customer immediately. I got the question was asked, Joel, for the customers that do buy, but more importantly, Joel, how do you contact customers when they don't buy? Well, statistics say that if you don't contact your customer within the next 24 to 72 hours, 70% of the time, 90% of the time, they're going to purchase elsewhere. Can you believe that, Joe?
Yeah, that's a big statistic. Again, let's think about this. Even if you're driving down the road and see a bandit sign, okay, and why would you bother to call the credit repair company's number on the sign unless you've got a pain that needs to be soothed? And if the call is coming from a referral source, or the referral is coming from if the consumer is coming from a referral source, and it's a real estate agent, well, guess what? They've not been out looking at cars that day. They've been out trying to buy a house. And you're exactly right. They are going to, if they're going to buy credit repair, they're going to buy it from somebody, and that statistic is really overwhelming. I mean, it's a gigantic number.
Yeah. I mean, it's an impressive number, and it would be, just not engaging them is incredible. Like I said before, I've in my credit repair business, over 46% of our customers came from existing customers. And let me tell you why, Joel. Because we asked on purpose.
Well, you had a plan.
And we had a plan.
You even asked for a referral when you were calling up to dun somebody for money. Now, that's...
Well, we were dunning them. We call them for money, and they're telling us, and they're telling us they can't pay, and we're asking for referrals.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of ways. You turn a negative into a positive. When they're on compliance calls, you know, we didn't have compliance calls. What we had were quality control calls. And if we had people that couldn't get into or didn't get into our program, you know, a couple of days later, we had a script where somebody was calling them to ask them a bunch of questions, but the real purpose behind it was to get that customer back into an appointment and then resell the appointment, resell the credit repair opportunity once again. Okay? And when we did that, we asked unashamedly for a referral. Okay? We asked for referrals from if we got a call and somebody else picked up the phone other than the client, you know, we asked for a referral. It was a culture. When we closed the deal, I think I showed you one of those yesterday, I believe it was, when we were reviewing some old documents that we had when we were in the retail business to see what we can reuse and deliver to some of our customers as deliverables. I showed Joe that we had a form that we would give our customers that was advertising the friends and family plan and would pay $25 for any referral from any customer that would close. And they would, I think there was 5 or 6 spaces, and we'd leave that with the customer while we're copying or we were copying or scanning their SIPs, you know, or their contract into our system. So while they were doing that, they were left alone for, you know, 3-4 minutes, and they had the ability to look to go ahead and give us referrals. And when they got back, the salesperson would say, "Come on, you can give me a couple more. I'm sure you know more people that we can help as well." You know, and we engaged them because when they're saying yes, this was the best time to ask for referrals. When you have great results, ask for referrals. When you have bad results and you call to a customer, ask for referrals. Now you might say, "Well, how can you do that?" Well, simply, you just ask. Don't think how you can't do it. Think how you can do it. You know, when the salesperson gets on that call and says, you know, this month we didn't have enough results, next month we can probably get better. Let's see what we can do. You know, this is a frustrating time, and I get it that you haven't gotten the results that you wish, and I don't think you would wish this upon anybody else. Talking about anybody else, here comes the bridge. Would you have anybody that we can recommend this service to so that they don't have to go through the same anguish in the future? Possibly. Any of your friends or family. Ask. Ask. The only person that doesn't get referrals, Joe, is the one that doesn't ask.
You know, kind of segueing back to the social media, you know, one of the things that we experience in our rental management company is that we'll have someone call about a house. And this is going to make sense. I'll tie it back together real quick. We'll have somebody call about a house, don't want to know all about the house, been on the internet, seen the pictures, want to discuss it, maybe even go by and look at it. We have some of our houses, we have lockbox on that are vacant. They go in and look at the house, you know, and we have somebody that checks it once a day. But the point of it is that then they just disappear. They told you about their mama, their daddy, their brother, their dog, the kids, and you know more about them than you want to know, right? And then all of a sudden they just disappear. And why is that? Because they found another house. And so if you don't, it's kind of the same thing with credit repair here. I mean, you got to jump on that hard. You know, of course, you know, relatively soft sell, but you got to do a good job. When you get that person on the phone, you know, you got to close them if it's at all possible. And you got to stay with them because otherwise they're going to go buy from somebody else. They're going to go lease a different house. They're going to be gone, and your marketing costs just increase because you didn't close that deal. And I can tell you this, as everybody is experiencing, they don't answer their phone. You know, caller ID is great, right? Except if you're the guy trying to reach somebody, and because they won't answer their phone, you know, and it kind of annoys me. You know, If I'm not interested in somebody's product, I'm just going to say, hey, look, dude, I'm not interested. Don't call me. You're wasting time. Have a good day. You did a good job, but I'm not interested. And get off the list because I just don't want my phone to ring, and I don't want to waste the guy's time. But I tell you what, the national attitude towards that is different than mine. I mean, they just ignore you, right, Joshua? Don't answer, and they don't respond to the emails. So kind of going back to the social media, if you can look them up on Facebook. I mean, everybody that I talk to, you call my office, I'm gonna look you up on LinkedIn and Facebook probably before I get on the phone with you. And then afterwards, I'm going to invite you to be my friend and connect with you on LinkedIn. So at least I'm, back to buying brain cells and marking their territory when they pull up their Facebook and see that versus, not answering the phone. So, there's just not enough time in a day to call people that don't answer. So anyway, thought I'd bring that up. Joshua, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
going back to the, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to the question, Joe, I think, it's you've got to engage them continuously. You want to engage them right after they buy, within a week, and then after that, routinely, and then have multiple ways, educate. You want to, and so it's really not saying how many times should I engage them, it's how and in what level should I engage existing customers. You want to do it from an admin perspective or an accounting perspective because you're going to have an accounting relationship with that customer. So set up a way to engage that customer every month and do it proactively and on purpose. With regards to educational content, you want to go ahead and set up send up maybe a continuity campaign on a monthly basis. Schedule at least one call a month, no less than that, voice call per month to talk to your customer. Lexington Law probably has a terrible, has deliverables that do not compare to the way that we, on our businesses, whether you're doing business to school or not, we engage our customers' credit derogatory items all on one dispute. Lexington Law does 5 line items only per month. So that means that it would take a normal customer that had about 15 to 20 items, it would take them about 4 months to cycle through one dispute. By that time, if you're engaging all accounts on every letter, you've gone through 4 disputes, therefore increasing the probability of duty to repair. So it's a better market. You get a lot more credit repair done in our niche market. So we don't compete with that company, yet that is one of the biggest companies out there. And I think that they are one of the biggest because they continuously engage their customers on purpose and proactively. They're calling you every week, setting up appointments. And normally people miss the appointment. If they miss the appointment, they'll set up another appointment right on that one. And they'll move on to the next week, and they'll go on to the next customer. They have a clear and concise conversation pre-planned on those continuity endeavors. So when they talk to you, it's a 2 to 3 minute, 5 minute conversation. They're done and they're out of there. They're not going to let you talk on the phone. They're going to control the conversation. So it's interesting that what they do really well is engage you proactively, which gives you the sense that you're being serviced appropriately, because you're not doubting the level of service when you should, right? In my opinion, when you should. And with our deliverable, our customers will probably have a higher level of deliverable. And that means of delete or higher probability of delete or repair, because they're engaging more opportunities from the beginning. Yet you don't touch your customers as frequently as they do, and you probably have a greater attrition rate. Plus, let me tell you another thing that they do. They upsell. They upsell everything. They're a selling marketing machine. So they're going to sell everything that they can sell to you. Okay, and it's not even their product. If they're making money on it, they're selling it. So once they've got a captive audience, they take advantage of that channel, and they're marketing to it continuously. So they're selling upsell products to you because you're there for X amount of time. Let's call it 3 to 4 months. And you're there for 3 to 4 months. They're going to engage you as many ways as they can to keep you attentive, and they're going to market to you. And they're going to let you know. If something's wrong with your billing, you're going to know. So we've got to contact them as many ways as possible, and we've got to do it on purpose. We've got to, the message has got to be different for the different endeavors that we, for the different ways that we engage our customers monthly, Joel.
No doubt about it. Well, we've almost taken up the entire time with only 3 or 4 questions, but they've been really good. There's a HIPAA tactic question that Bob has asked. Bob, that's a little complicated for me to answer. I'd like to for you to contact Joshua directly on that, if you would, please.
Yeah, is that from who, Joe?
Bob Harrington.
Bob, go ahead and email me at joshua@scoreinc.com, and I'll take care of the question for you, or we'll schedule a call if necessary.
One of the things that we always talk about, Joshua, is the Identity IQ. One of the reasons that we like it is that score simulator. Another reason that we like it is because all of the negative items are in one location on the report. So a great report. $1 Million ID theft insurance as well, ID theft restoration service, credit score tracking, credit score simulator, and I guess maybe the best of all is 30-day pull for $16.95.
That's it's definitely an excellent service, Joe. That score simulator is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not using that and you're using our service, and use that score simulator, it's a great tool. You can go ahead and play with different scenarios, and it'll tell you exactly how many points that will go up or down. Obviously, that's going to be with regards to the scoring model, but it'll tell you if that endeavor that could be a non-dispute related endeavor can increase or decrease a score. There's I was sitting at a table one day with some mortgage gurus, and I'm not going to say who it was, but you were probably there. And one of the guys that was with us, Joe, said there's a huge difference between a 640 customer and a 650 customer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am not from the mortgage business, so I didn't understand that. But then I got to thinking, and I said, well, that's just 10 points. And the thing is that statistically speaking, when customers start jumping from that score up, statistically it's much more difficult to do so, because normally you don't have a lot of derogatory items, you just have a lot of usage problems. So guess what? When I say usage, I mean the way you use your credit, your mix, utilization ratios. It would be a great thing that you could sit inside of a portal and then bump 10 points for one of your real estate or mortgage affiliate relationships and pull that out on that customer right in front of them online to a Join Me or GoToMeeting session and say, my simulator is telling me that if he pays $1,250 down on his revolving credit, he's going to have an increase of anywhere between 10 to 22 points. That would be, it doesn't say it would not go. It's going to say it's going to increase. I guarantee you that the FICO score is going to increase. Maybe not of that proportion, maybe more or less, depending on what scale you're in, right? But I can tell you one thing, there is going to be an increase. And pushing them 10 points could be the difference between getting a loan or not. And that's a huge thing, Joel.
Yeah, the difference between a 640 and a 650 is somebody make money on it, right? So getting, and that's, what an obvious point to segue here. It's just so obvious that every single customer that walks into a mortgage company that's at 6 whatever, that under the number, every single one of them, why isn't your mortgage referral source referring every single one of those to you? Now let's talk about what a referral is, okay? Hey, here's the guy's card, give him a call and push him out the door. That means that referral agent does not believe in you or your service. They've not seen it work. You've not done a good enough job of following up. You've not built trust. You've not built rapport. you've not built it. You don't have a social presence with them, okay? Because every single customer that walks in their door that does not qualify, which is probably, I don't know the number these days, yeah, but it's way over 50%, okay, need credit repair. So what you've got to do, you know, and I in speaking and consulting with one of our customers a couple of weeks back, Joshua, this longer than that, but nonetheless, it was, you know, this particular credit repair company would go and see this mortgage person. Oh, well, I sent you about 15 people, didn't they? You know, and I never heard back from you. Okay, I said, well, let's change the dynamic. You need to train your referral agent. Okay, there's a lack of communication there. Let me tell you what I need you to do. Write it down and give it to them on a nice piece of paper, even a 3x5 or some, you know, something nice with your logo on it, and say, this is the process that if you'll follow, I'll be able to help your customers. You know, if they're in your, if they're at your office, call me and let me talk to them while they're there. Number one, best way in the world, right? Number two, email me their name, address, and email address, and tell them that I will be contacting them. But I mean, what you want is that agent, that mortgage person, that real estate agent, that builder, that insurance, that car dealer, to pick up the phone right there and do that. Now, how do you get them to do that? How do you drive your relationship to the point that they'll do that? Well, if you're local, it's a lot easier than if you're not local, okay? But so let's talk about it being local. You know, that means you need to take them out to have coffee. It means you have that process, that whole entire training that you can find on our members-only website there, where, you know, you invite them to lunch or breakfast or just for coffee, and say, would you invite somebody else to come so that you can introduce me? Build a relationship. Go to their Christmas parties. Invite them to your Christmas parties. Go to the realtor meetings that they have probably once a month in your area. Go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings that they have there. Go where these mortgage people are. Meet them socially. Okay? And if you don't do that, you will be hamstrung. I've got a great friend of mine, Greg Frost. He actually hosts a barbecue like once a quarter for all of his real estate agents and all of his builders, and then he goes to all of the events. He is at at least, you know, you can, Josh, I don't know about you, but I can only be one place at a time, okay, physically. So, but he's got multiple people doing this now, but it started off with, what did he do? People ask him all over the country. He says, Greg, how do you do so many loans? He says, I do them at one at a time. They said, where do you get them from? Okay, well, I get some of them from this realtor and that realtor. Well, how'd you build that relationship? I met them. I went to their Tuesday morning meetings. I did an educational training for them. I followed up. I stayed in touch. I became their friend. They became my friend. And that's how you do it, okay? And if you're not a real social person, okay, then you got to hire somebody else to do that, maybe even give them a part of your business, because otherwise they're going to go out and build a referral relationship, and they're going to take them all with them.
That's right.
Okay? But, you know, building a business, you know, in building a credit repair business is about relationships. It is about getting to know people, and more importantly, people knowing you. So when they think about credit repair, when they have a customer that walks out the door and they're not going to make the $3 or $4 or $5 or $6 or $10,000, whatever it is they're not going to make, it pains them, Joshua. Okay, but right now they don't. You know, if they're not referring you business, it's because they don't think they have an option, and they don't think you're the solution. But these are the ways to overcome that and become that solution. You know, get out in front of people. Get out of your office. Make a scheduled where, you know, you're spending time meeting with the people that have business. Get as close to the epicenter of a financial transaction that requires credit as you can.
Absolutely.
And you'll do more business.
Yeah, and you've got to enrich that relationship. You've got to work on the rapport. I mean, you've got to. And you know when it ultimately starts paying off, Joel? After you nurture those relationships, when you start giving back. So when you start fixing people's credit to the point that they start getting them into new homes and new loans and new cars, guess what happens? They start doing it with much more vigor, with much more interest. Why? Because now they've realized an opportunity that they really didn't have anything to do. You handed them back a customer. I mean, that's a great thing. You know,
and we call that a drug, okay? And once you get them hooked, on your drug, and that is the fact that, and look, I know this for a fact. You know, we all know this for a fact. If your credit, you know, if you've got bad credit, you've got bad credit for several reasons. Primarily it's because something happened in your life and you didn't pay your bills. That's the type of customer that we can actually help. And hopefully it happened long enough ago that by applying methods allowed by law, that a number of items will be removed by the bureaus or by the data furnishers for the reasons that they remove lines of credit that they don't verify or that are inaccurate. Okay, so we know, there's no doubt about it, that we know, Joshua, that if a guy that wants to buy a house and is ready, willing, and able, except for his credit, in a number of instances, his credit can be improved enough to buy a house. Okay, and so we know it works, and so, you know, building that relationship up so that you get that buyer gets back in there to that one real estate agent, that one loan officer, is absolutely the key to really making it work. Because you can go tell them and tell them and tell them and tell them, but when they start ringing their cash register because of you, and you do a good job at that and make them feel good about it, then, I mean, you know, that's where you got to get to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. You know, Joe, you've mentioned My IQ report. Why don't you, can you show everyone where to go for the FDCPA, offer as well? I know it's getting late, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I didn't make a good segue there, Joshua. Tell them that the only way to get the Identity IQ at that $16.95 price is to use this link.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got to use that link, and you can get it for that price point and pull every 30 days. We've added on that page a new members log on on the upper left right-hand corner. So all of you that are already using it, you don't need to send your customers to Identity IQ anymore. They can just go to that same My IQ report and hit Client Log On and log into the customer's portal with their username and with their login and user ID and password criteria, as well as their secret phrase.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the other service this one doesn't cost you anything, and a lot of you out there are overcomplicating this. This is simple. You are going to refer customers over to us and get a marketing fee up to $150 if you ask one fundamental question that's answered yes to, and you're going to hit Submit Lead and send it to us. If you're a customer of Score, you can do it. If you're not a customer of Score, you can do it as well. But you need to do a couple of things. First, you need to fill out the W-9 and the contract. Now, there's no obligation to do anything or commit to anything. It's just because we've got to have an agreement to do business together. But do not miss out on this. If you want to make an extra $150 from customers, out of every 10 customers you're touching, almost 5 to 7 of them have collection accounts. That means over 50% of those are probably being collected on at that moment. That means they're not taking calls. That's why you can't get a hold of them on the phone. They don't have you on their caller ID. Don't waste your time with this. Ask them those questions. Put them on the list. If they need more answers, our professionals at the FDCPA department are trained to answer their questions, and will explain what it is. Basically, if there's a possible violation, the consumer can make up to $1,000. The lawyer can make up to $2,000, which that's why they're buying the leads, and they're going to buy a lead once they've qualified the customer and pay you through Score $150, seven days after. So this is a great thing. You pay nothing for this. This is FREE, free to everyone. It's a way of giving you more money. Take advantage of this, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, very good point, and it absolutely works. So that's the easy part about it. Let me also show you this one more slide. So this is the number you call, or just go to the website and ask for information on the FDCPA page. All the training that you need is there as well. Let me go back there.
I forgot to mention one thing, Joel. The month of March, we've got an additional promotion going for this product or service. What we're going to give you is that if you submit 3 leads that the lawyers purchase, that means you get 3 payable leads, purchase marketing referrals, marketing leads purchased by the FDCPA department during the month of March, you're going to get an extra $50. So if you're a Score customer, that takes you to $200. If you're not, it takes you to whatever your level of you're in for that month based on volume is plus $50. So take advantage of that. It's earn up to $200 per lead for the month of March.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And again, let's use it. Let's say it one more time. It's free, right? Now, if you are not a customer of Score and would like to find out more about our software solution and more about us as a company, because we don't do a lot of selling on this webinar, go to our website, and let me get that back up here a second. We've got a new page there, Joshua, where you can actually register for not only today's webinar, which you are obviously already registered for, but you could also register for our Scoreway webinar, which is on Tuesday. So we recommend that you do that if you're not a customer of Score. Strongly consider joining us on Tuesdays. And it's about selling. It's about showing you how we do business, and versus this call is a way to help you build your business.
Well, that's a great call, Joe.
Yeah, always good. Thank you all for joining us. We're run over time, but I think it's worth it. And Joshua, I think we've got so many other questions to answer. We'll definitely return to this format soon. But we've got 22 weeks planned of really great webinar content that we'll be marketing and advertising out to you. So be sure to look for your emails. Thank you again, Joshua. It's been a great day.